Last year I reviewed Terror Train, and this year I'm reviewing New Year's Evil. My resolution for this year was to review a better New Year's Eve horror movie. Unfortunately, I failed.
New Year's Evil.
So New Year's Evil is a 1980s slasher film about a psychopath named Evil who goes around killing women one per hour, or at least that's his goal. Meanwhile, there's this girl who runs a New Year's show, like she's Kathy Griffin, and she kind of looks like Kathy Griffin. She's a redhead, and she puts on way too much freaking makeup, and so we got her story. It's boring, bland, and dumb. And then we got this kid who was in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. He just wants his mom's attention, but she ain't giving him none. And he's got a screw loose or two because he's sticking stockings and leggings on his face and taking pills and looking all upset. But for the most part, the movie's just about a guy going around killing people. These other characters are useless and dumb, and we don't give a shit about them. The killer is the best part of this movie, without a doubt. That's my positive, the killer. And I like that this movie actually follows the killer around. We get to see him for the majority of the runtime. We see him go place to place. This isn't like a killer stalks from the distance, going, lurking in the shadows. We don't see his face. We see his face from minute one. We know that this guy is most likely related to the person he's calling because he's using a voice modulator, or a voice changer. So, why would he need that? Because he doesn't want to be recognized, duh. So, obviously, we know that he's going to be related to the person he's talking to. So, yeah, the twist was very predictable. But, keeping with the positives, I like that this movie follows the killer. It's kind of like Silent Night, Deadly Night. We get to follow the killer around, and he's a smooth talker. He's smart. Even though he's psycho, he's smart, he's determined, and those are the scariest types of psychos, or the ones that actually have some intelligence and they plan shit out. They know what to do. They know how to not get caught. I actually dug this guy as a villain. And we get some boobs. It's a slasher. You got some boobs in here. The score is kind of reminiscent of Friday the 13th. You got that ha 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 sound. Every once in a while, I just heard something go ha ha ha. I was like, that's Friday the 13th. And this came out the same year. Was that on purpose? Did this come out right after? Before? I like the little Richard Nixon mask he has at the end. I think it's Richard Nixon. It's all white and it's got red cheeks and a long nose. I think it's Nixon. I could be wrong, but it looks pretty much like Nixon. But I like that mask. He doesn't use it a lot. Makes sense why he doesn't use it, because he's trying to pick up women. He's very good at picking up women. I thought that was very different. He's a smooth talker, like I said. He's picking up chicks and then killing them right at midnight. I like that. It's a holiday horror movie. I like holiday horror movies. And he's killing one person per hour leading up to midnight. I guess he just wants to get famous off of it. I don't know. His motivation at the end is pretty weak. So let's just go into the negatives. The motivation is stupid. I'll talk about my spoilers. It's dumb, and there's annoying songs playing throughout the most of the runtime. And there's always these dance montages, and it looked like they grabbed a whole room full of people who don't know how to dance and said, "Try your best," and they're all lazily moving around, and they're just they're literally running into each other, like they're just shit-faced drunk. They're just bumping into each other, bumping heads. It's like these people aren't dancing; they're just fucking like those inflatable things that you blow up and you punch them and they fall back and they come forward. That's what they were. It was just ridiculous, their dance. And there's so many sequences of just dance montage, annoying song, shitty song, another shitty song. This music in this movie is terrible. The score is okay, but the fucking soundtracks within are awful. And they play the same song twice. It opens up with this song, and then not even 5 minutes later, they're at a concert actually playing that song. It's I gotta hear it again? I just heard the whole thing. Jesus. And how is this mom even famous? She's drenching her face in makeup. It's what does she really look like? She looks like a fucking doll she looks like a 12-year-old did her makeup. Just so much. All the red cheeks and whatnot just smeared everywhere. She looks awful. I bet she would look better without it. Not to sound like a sexist pig, but she looked awful with all that makeup. How is she famous? She's in charge of this show, and everybody's drooling over her, oh my gosh, look who it is. Touch my hand. It's bullshit. She is nothing to look at. How is she famous? She ain't got nothing to show off. So I call bullshit. And then she's got this son who is a completely useless character. He's just here for that final scare at the end, but he's completely useless. He's shoved to the back, completely forgotten about. He's not a red herring because we know who the killer is. So they waste all this time with this guy. He's like standing in front of the mirror, putting shit on his face, having like monologues with himself, and I could give a shit less. Don't know this guy. I just know he's crazy. He's saying weird shit. And he's just completely uninteresting. Just like a completely useless character. Why is he even in here? He doesn't like help the motive for the killer. The killer could still have his motive and still do his thing without this son character. He's completely useless. And I love that this is another movie where everybody has 6 shooters that have multiple rounds. They just keep shooting and shooting. It's like, I count 20 now. How the fuck are you reloading that quick? You're not reloading. You're just shooting infinite ammo like you got some freaking mod, some little like Call of Duty like cheat code. Now you're just shooting multiple rounds. It's impossible. It's supposed to be real life. This like movie on a couple of occasions starts to like question your logic and like I'm just supposed to accept this bullshit. No, it's a 6-shooter, and then the end when he like hijacks the ambulance, get the fuck out of here. There's no gore in this movie. All the kills are off camera, every single one of them, and they're just very lame. Like, this is 1980. This is when gore started to become more of a thing, right? Friday the 13th. Where's the gore? Where's any on-screen stabbings whatsoever? Where did the budget go to? And the twist is obvious. I'm not going to say what it is right now, even though I kind of already told you. But it's obvious. I mean, I could tell you right now it's not a twist at all. It was presented like one, but by God, that was very pathetic. Like, a very pathetic execution. Really? I wonder who it is. Like, from minute 1, when they mention the person who ends up being the killer, you're like, I bet it's that person, and it is. Final thoughts, just very disappointing. Like, I wasn't a fan of Terror Train, a movie that doesn't even need to be like a New Year's Eve movie. Like, the holiday has nothing to do with Terror Train at all. Like, it's just a party movie on a train. And this one, it actually has to do with the holiday at least, so I guess I'll give it that. You know, otherwise the plot wouldn't be the same. But it's got no real on-screen kills. It's got a little bit of boobs if you're looking for that, but that doesn't make it worth the watch. The main, I forgot to say it, acting across the board, except for the killer, is very weak. The actor is decent. I mean, the main actor, the main bad guy, he's decent. But outside of that, all awful. And so, yeah, just very not interesting. I was just very, like, bored. I was only like halfway entertained and having a decent time when the killer was on screen, smooth talking ladies and sneaking people into his car. He was running away from these bikers. Whenever that stuff was happening, I was having an okay time. But outside of that, this movie is nothing that interesting or worth watching again ever. And I wouldn't recommend it to you unless you're a hardcore slasher fan who just wants to check it off your list. So check it out if you're that person. But if you're not, do not watch it, because when it comes to New Year's Evil, this movie is wasted time. Now let's go into my spoiler discussion. So, this movie opens up with a black person dying. They always die first, right? So, this movie falls right into that trope. Black girl dies first, off camera. And then we see this girl flashes her tits, just a random drive-by flashing during this opening like music video, just playing that awful song. Oh, get it out of my head. It's gonna be stuck in there. We got the typical like switchblade comb, like whips it out, and it's like, and then call me evil. He's using the voice changer because he's the husband. Duh. Yeah, spoiler. We're in the spoiler section. It's the husband. Like, as soon as they mention, like, I'm gonna call dad. It's like, you can't call dad. He's sick. You know, I was like, it's dad. It's gonna be the dad. Yep, it's dad. Yeah, then we get that annoying song that plays twice, and then the drunken dance montage. The mom's being completely rude to the son. I mean, he's flat out like, there's something you need to know. And she's like, whatever, bye-bye. And she does that the whole fucking, like, at least 5 or 6 times. She does this, like, kiss the air thing. Like, you just want to smack her in the face just for doing that. But yeah, it's like, your son says, Mom, there's something you need to know. And she's just like, whatever, I got a show. Like, you don't have 2 seconds? Get the fuck out of here. And then he, like, gets this nurse to have sex with him like that, like, within 10 minutes. And I was just like, damn, this guy is a player. Gets her a bottle of wine. They go in the back room. Strikes midnight. Stabs her. And at first, I thought he was literally going from time zone to time zone. I'm like, how the hell is he driving from time zone to time zone within an hour? Because he's got to kill one person every hour from like different times, because it's like midnight on the East Coast. And they made it sound like he was killing people at those locations. I'm like, bullshit, there's no way. It doesn't take 60 minutes to drive from Eastern time to, Central time to Mountain time to, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, really? But then I saw like he had a California license plate. I was like, oh no, he's in the same state. That makes more sense. There's no way. So yeah, that was me being stupid. And yeah, he crashes into a bicyclist like Shelly in Friday the 13th Part 3. And they all start hunting his ass down. And they go to the drive-in, and it's a packed house. Who is going to the drive-in for a double movie like marathon on New Year's Eve? Shouldn't you be at like a bar in a basement somewhere with all your friends, watching TV, watching the ball drop, doing something? But going to the drive-in, I've never heard of that. I've heard of bowling because they got TVs there, but you're literally just watching a movie. You're not watching the ball drop. So what's the point? I just thought that was odd. Like, the drive-in would not be open on New Year's Eve. Maybe I'm wrong, but that just seemed odd. In that whole scene, you could hear like the trailer for a movie playing. It's like a 3-minute trailer at least. I'm like, damn, that's how trailers used to be back in the day. Trailers would just ruin the whole movie. You look up any like 1980s, 70s movie trailer, especially for horror, they basically just give you every single death. Like, here's what happens. Come watch it. It's like, there's no point no more. You just showed me everything. But yeah, and then he just hijacks this car. He takes the guy out, and for some reason, both of them are in the back seat, the guy and the girl. She's like getting high. He's like playing with her tits. She's like not into him. She's being hard to get. And then as soon as he hijacks the car, she is then like willing, like, I'll do anything, mister. It's like, I don't want your sex or your money. He gets this blonde like MILF at this bar. He gets her in the car, and he's like immediately like regretting picking her as the victim because she's going on and on, diarrhea of the mouth. Ironic, she's talking about how her friend has diarrhea problems. Well, she's got diarrhea of the mouth. Shut up. She's just talking, and he just finally has had enough. He strangles her with a bag, throws her in the dumpster, and it gets the other girl. And I like when the cops find their bodies. He has like the one girl in the swing, but then when they go up to the slide, the one chick's body just slides on cue, like a Friday the 13th victim. It just made me laugh. And who throws their cat in the garbage? Oh my god. How many times am I going to see this in the movie? A cat jumps out of the dumpster. There was an epidemic in the 80s where everyone was just throwing their cats in the dumpster. What a cruel fucking time to be a cat. The one girl gets out, like, okay, so when he hijacks the drive-in car and he's got the girl in the back seat, these two drunks are walking into the road. It's an empty road. It's very wide. He could easily just swerve around him and keep going because he's got like less than 5 minutes until like the ball drops in some other time zone to kill the girl behind him. But instead of swerving around them, he just slams on the brakes and just stays there, like yelling at them, like, go! And then that gives her time to escape, and she actually successfully escapes. And I thought that was kind of unique. I was like, oh shit, I thought he would get her. But a cop comes to save the day, and I like how the cop is like, hey, police officer. That's how he presents himself. Just like, hey, police officer, that's what I am. See the badge? But we don't ever actually see a cop in that scene. We just hear him. Even when he goes to console the girl, like, hey ma'am, you alright? Like, we just hear his voice. We never actually see a cop. So I'm like thinking, was there not a cop on set? Like, really? You can't afford a cop or a cop outfit in this one scene? Like, I just thought that was odd. I'm sure they could afford it. It was just a weird decision not to have a cop actually be present. It looks like he's just running away from nothing because we don't actually see a cop. But let's go back a little bit. I like that he stabs that biker. He's dressed up like a priest. That's another thing. I like that he's like changing outfits throughout the movie because you don't see that too often in horror movies. In Terror Train and now New Year's Evil, 2 New Year's Eve movies, you got a killer who changes mask or outfits. But he changes into like a priest outfit. And he's like, I'm a man of God, not of violence. And then he just stabs them right in the freaking gut. I just thought that was hilarious. It's like, I'm a man of God. I come in peace. Stab! And then he like calls this cop over in the parking garage, like, I see a drunk guy over here. Come get him with me, officer. And he just walks around, doesn't check his corners because he's a moron. Gets hit in the head with a brick that was just conveniently laying in the middle of a parking garage. This guy's lucky. He's having a lucky day. Shit lining up conveniently for him. And yeah, hits the car, takes his outfit, sneaks in, and now he's like an elevator wizard. He like knows how to like hijack and like hack and like mess with like make the elevators go haywire. He's like messing with it, like got a screwdriver. So like I said, this guy's smart. He's like a mechanic now or some shit. And he's revealed as the husband. And I'm like, no shit. He's the one person they talked about earlier who's sick and we can't get a hold of him. Where is he? I know where he's at. And he gives his motivation. He's like, you basically castrated me, woman. And all you women are the same. You're selfish, self-centered, dumb. And I don't know, he just went off and he was just like saying like all women, like a blanket statement, like all women are this. So he's a misogynist. If you thought I was, no, this guy is. He is a misogynist, and that's his motivation. I thought that was pretty odd. I've never seen that before in a horror movie where the motivation is, I hate women. And I like the line he says, like, I can hear your heart beating. I don't like that. He handcuffs the woman, his wife, and then puts her underneath the elevator, like she's hanging from it. And we actually get to see like her going all the way up, like the stunt person. I thought that was cool, that shot. But she puts up no fight at all. Not once. In that like elevator crash where it just like fell for a while and then slowed down, I'm supposed to believe that like knocked her out. It wasn't shot in a way that made me think that. So I'm like, why is she all like dazed and like, oh my gosh, what's going on? It's like, you were in an elevator that was falling for a bit and it's not, now it's not falling. Why are you passed out? But she doesn't fight at all. And her acting is the weakest of them all. Why is she the main woman in this movie? Like, this is her, like, attempt at, like, acting all scared and whatnot. Like, stop, no. That's her the whole fucking time. Like, it's so pathetic. And it's just, it pissed me off. And yeah, and he goes up to the wife. And the cops, they shoot the elevator thing, so they save the wife. And because luckily the building has, like, 1,000 floors. I mean, she's falling for, like, 45 seconds straight. And still hasn't hit the ground. Bullshit. He gets up to the roof and puts on the Nixon mask and then gives us a quick little speech and then jumps off the roof. And then the son is revealed to be just as psycho as the dad, as if that's even a reveal. We already know it. Somehow kills the EMT and now is wearing a mask. He's in the front driver's seat. There's a whole crowd around how nobody saw him kill that EMT. And no one's questioning why there's a masked person in the front driver's seat wearing the mask that they just saw on the killer's body who jumped to his death. Give me a break. That is just ridiculous. And why is the main woman even being carted away into an EMT like she's on a gurney or a stretcher or whatever? What are her injuries? What happened to her? She got handcuffed. She was free falling for a bit. That's her injury? Really? Now she's got to be taken to the hospital because of what? Mental injuries, maybe? I don't know. That's just dumb. It's like, why does she need any medical assistance at all? She should be just fine. But yep, that's the end of it, I think. Let me see if I missed anything at all. Nope, that's it. Alright, so that's the end of New Year's Evil. What did you think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below if you've seen it before. Let me know all your thoughts about it. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and you become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. Happy New Year, everybody.